This is the Southern Tier ride, day 3. Uh, what you see on the video, it says Ocotillo to Blythe. It's really Ocotillo to El Centro, even though it's just a little south of that. If you look on the map to the right, Ocotillo is down the bottom, and this shows my route that I traveled up to Calexico and then north towards El Centro. The white line here is the border between the United States and Mexico. So let's start the ride. And I will try and get these two pretty close in sync. Yeah, that's close enough. This was, in my opinion, a boring ride. You can see from the terrain there is not much to really view. And I can't say that I really enjoyed it. The view on the Garmin that you can see the clouds in the sky, it was obviously a nice day. It didn't get over 90 degrees. It was basically flat. The total distance I rode on day 3 was only 33.28 miles in just a little over 2 hours. Nothing to brag about, but that's okay. There were other things that happened. Now, a little bit about the ride. Total climbing was 344 feet, which was kind of weird because you're not really aware of that much climbing, even though that isn't a lot. I kept it as an easy day. My average heart rate was about 125, which is pretty low for me. And I averaged 81 RPMs throughout the ride. I try to ride between 80 and 90. So that's right in line with where I want to be. The elevation gain, well, I'm sorry, I gave you that, was 344 feet, but I lost 758 feet. And the lowest point of my trip was 30 feet below sea level, where the maximum elevation was 495 feet. What I'm going through right now is what I would consider sandy desert, really nothing to look at. There is nothing between Ocotillo and Calexico. No stops. If there was a problem, you'd have to rely on people driving by. The road until about 10, 15 miles outside Calexico was very good. I have no complaints with that. I was actually impressed with how wide the shoulder was. Now, the thing about this ride was we had just come from spending the night in Ocotillo, and we had a terrible night. We actually had 40 to 60 mile an hour winds. We lost we severely damaged the canopy. It actually blew up the canopy, took the top layer of the canopy and tore it to shreds. We were lucky to get it rolled up and finish making the trip home. But we were up most of the night before this ride because of this horrible winds and storms. After the wind subsided, there came rain and then hail, large hail. Fortunately, it didn't damage our motorhome. The interesting part of all this is, and where I am right now, I'm just taking a break speaking with my wife. We sought shelter after all the damage to our motorhome. We'd gotten permission to park in an open parking area next to where we ate dinner, and that's where we stayed until the winds came up. And when the rains came, we eventually sought cover under an abandoned gas station. Got an hour or so sleep and got woken up by the local sheriff who said we were trespassing, which amazed me completely since all we were doing was parking there. But we we picked up and moved our stuff and went to an open gas station parking lot uh, on the other side of the freeway where you saw the film start. Now you can see that I'm slowly, in a little while, will be coming up on farmland, and that did change the scenery, but it also, for some reason, narrowed my bike lane to a very minimal amount, and the road became a little more dangerous, and also traffic picked up quite a bit at that point. Now I was planning on going up to Blythe and filming the road between Raleigh and Blythe and just seeing the sand dunes there. And quite frankly, uh, I'm going to post video of that road. That road is dangerous, and I don't recommend riding on it personally. There's a lot of hills up and down, uh, hills where if you're in a car, it might be fun, but you can't see the other side of the hill, and there's really no room for a bike and a large, say, tractor trailer rig to pass you safely, uh, especially if you're getting a big truck coming at you and one's passing you. There's just no room for you. So my opinion is it's unsafe and it lasts for quite a while. So when I continued this ride, which I'm calling day 4, I rode from El Centro to Yuma, and that road was much, much safer. Uh, Parts of the road were in terrible, terrible shape, but I wasn't too worried about getting hit by a car like I would have been on the road from Raleigh to Blythe. So here we are. We're now in the farmland, and shortly we will be arriving in Calexico, where I will turn north, go a short distance out of town, and then stop. I wasn't really enjoying myself because of the lack of sleep I had the night before, the damage to our motorhome, and I was getting a saddle sore. So when I stopped, I was planning on having lunch, and we decided that we would just pack it up for the day and stop the ride for today. Now, I don't know if I've said much about me. I'm going to be 73 in a few days, and I've had 6 stents placed in my heart last year, and I have a pacemaker. So I'm actually riding a pedal assist bike, specialized, and I really enjoy riding that bike. I can ride at a nice level where I feel comfortable, and if need be, I can actually increase my power level to make it home if I overexert myself. I still try to keep my heart rate high. An example, though, is today I did not try and do that. Uh, I was just taking it easy. Of course, there was nothing to really push, and I wasn't trying to go fast. I was just trying to get to El Centro for lunch. So at least now we're in farmland, and there's something to look at other than sand. but that's about it. It's flat farmland and you really don't see much. But you can see the shoulder is almost no shoulder. I can ride with this bit of shoulder uh, and I'll be okay, but parts of it, there's just nothing at all, like right here. There's no shoulder. I prefer to have a greater shoulder than this, and I'm sure you do too. So now we're coming down, and when we come up the other side, I don't know where the border or city limits of Calexico are, but I felt like I was coming up into this outskirts of the city, and in fact, here's our first light. So you can see the city on the map if you're looking on the right. Uh, it's a little bigger city than I thought it would be, but I guess that's what you would expect. I actually passed my wife right around that spot, and now I'm just heading in so I can have my lunch. You can see I have really gained a lot of cars now at this point, and I'm coming up on some road construction. And up here is where I actually turn to go north, right at this intersection. And I'm going to pause this just a little bit so that I can get this other map, get the map to catch up a little bit and turn it. Whoa. So we're going in the same direction. So you can see now I'm leaving Calexico. It was actually, this road was beautiful. Um, I made a quick call to my wife to let her know where I was. But boy, all these businesses along here, major stores, plenty of places to eat. And like I said, this particular highway is just really good shape. And boy, was I actually upset with myself that I stopped only because it was good. There's now if I can just catch up, you can see now we're leaving the city and heading north towards I-10, and then just right up here is actually the end of the ride. And I appreciate you watching. I'll post a video for Southern Tier Day 4 shortly. Thank you.